We want a recreation in adulthood of what it felt like to be administered to and indulged. In a secret part of our minds, we picture someone who will understand our needs, bring us what we want, to be immensely patient and sympathetic to us, act selflessly, and make it all better. It's not easy to make a wind turbine blade. Conventional blades require a lot of labor. They are a sandwich composed of fiberglass, sheets of balsa wood and a chemical called an epoxy thermoset resin. A heat oven is required to give blades the proper shape, strength, smoothness, and flexibility to catch the wind and turn the turbine. The most obvious change is that 46% of college undergraduates are now women. When I went there, it was only the third year that women had been admitted, and then seemingly grudgingly, about 70% of students were male, and if there was a woman tutor she must have been a male impersonator. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural, and political rather than purely economic, and one of the main drivers in addition to the global marketplace is the communication revolution. In the past, wars have led to inflation and higher commodity prices. Fighting disrupts trade and prevents raw materials from being shipped from one country to another. In Second World War Britain, a banana was the highest of luxury. Most people do not realize that some banks literally make money by giving loans without having money on deposit. The system is called fractional reserve banking and is used in most economies. It sounds as though it is safe because it says that banks have to keep a fraction of their deposits with the Reserve Bank. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. You will usually be given one of these for each subject in the first lecture, but if you are missing one or need one earlier, then you should contact the subject coordinator. The carbon is essential to life on Earth, but scientists still struggle to grasp its complexities. Most research to date has focused on major sources of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide, and the use of fossil fuel. Eating a handful of almonds a day significantly increases the production of butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that promotes gut health. Whole almond eaters had an additional 1.5 bowel movements per week compared to the other groups. Political scholars had historically recognized the social love of the mass media. The impact of the mass media on the electric and governing process has greatly increased over the last 50 years. Using artificial intelligence, researchers can create photorealistic images from three-dimensional scenery, paving the way for better driving simulators and better testing of driverless cars. Efficiency is not your friend when it comes to cognitive growth. In order to keep our brains making new connections and keep them active, you need to keep moving on to another challenging activity as soon as you reach the point of mastery in the one you were engaging in. Psychology is the study of cognitions, emotions, and behavior. Psychologists are involved in a variety of tasks. Many spend their careers designing and performing research to understand how people behave in specific situations, how and why we think the way we do. An environment of rapid change, technological innovations, and increasing business competitiveness has highlighted the growing importance of management development. In particular, the general movement towards great employee involvement and making things happen through people. Despite many similarities with literary political debates in other nations, there are also ways in which the cultural and political situation in Scotland has left the study of Scottish literature in a significantly different condition from that of literary studies. In every cultivated language there are two great classes of words which, taken together, comprise the whole vocabulary. First, there are those words with which we become acquainted in daily conversation, which we learn from the members of our own family and from our familiar associates, and which we should know and use even if we could not read or write. Every few seconds, our eyelids automatically shutter and our eyeballs roll back in their sockets. So why doesn't blinking plunge us into intermittent darkness and light? New research shows that the brain works extra hard to stabilize our vision despite our fluttering eyes. COVID-19 pandemic is linked to early onset of puberty in some girls. Several studies suggest that the number of girls starting puberty early has more than doubled amid the coronavirus outbreak, and experts are unsure about exactly why. Cool room temperature inhibited cancer growth in mice. Mice acclimatized to temperatures of 4 degrees Celsius had significantly slower tumor growth and lived nearly twice as long compared with mice in rooms of 30 degrees Celsius because they were burning more brown fat. The dyes and pigments available in any particular period in which a specific color photographic process was invented, manufactured, and used have profound effects on the quality of color that defines most of the style and particular historical period.